that a cell is an intersection of a row and a column. So a column and a row makes up what? A cell. What are these cells? These boxes, these rectangular boxes you're seeing, these boxes, they are called what? Cells. So a cell is intersection of a row and what? And a column. Also, we talked about Excel. That Excel is a spreadsheet program that allows you to organize and analyze your data. So that is the major usefulness of Excel. We use it for organizing data, then arranging our data also. So we looked at ribbons. These are ribbons: the file, the home tab, then the insert tab, the page layout, formulas, data, review, view, help, power pivot. These are ribbons. And each of these ribbons have different groups of commands. Each of these tabs. This is a home tab. Home tab have groups of commands. We have the clipboard, we have fonts, we have alignments, we have number, styles, sales, editing, and add-ins. So the home tabs are made up of these groups of commands. Same applies to the insert tab. This is the insert tab. We have the table, we have charts, we have path lines, we have filters, we have links. So these are made up of what? The insert tabs. These are the groups under the insert tabs. So, and I told us to always go through all these tabs to familiarize ourselves with the groups, so we get to know the function of each of the tabs. So we looked at the cell naming, which is we call it cell naming. Each of these cells has what? A name. So this is a name box. The function of this name box is that it is used to display the name of an active cell. So anytime your cursor is pointing inside any of these sheets, the name will be displayed on the name box. You can see that displaying on the name box. It means that the active cell here is what? Is F, then row 6. That is row 9. That is F9. Column F, then row 9. That is the active cell. So you can use this for knowing the name of an active cell. We also talked about a formula bar. This is a formula bar. In formula bar, you can edit and you can impute a text in the formula bar. You can impute text, you can impute formulas inside the formula bar. For instance, I can type inside my cell, then I can also type on my formula. You can see that. So you can type inside the formula bar, you can also type inside the cell. So that was some of the things we did the last time. For those that didn't join us, we also did creating of tables, just using it to play around the home tab. We talked about the fonts, so play around with the bold, the borders, underline, then paint, which is the fill color, then font color. So we played around with all these tools. Then the alignment, merge and center, then wrap text, and so on. So if you take time, go through the last class video, and that will help us to catch up with that last class. But we didn't actually do much in that last class. So today we are going to dive into our course officially. So we are going to start our data analysis course with Excel. So in this class, we're going to be looking at some basic and advanced functions of data analysis with Excel. So I'll send us the PDF slides. You can go through it. You see that I'll break it down in branches. So I'll break it down in stages also. You can start. We're starting with the mathematical function, then textual function. We have the logical function. We have lookup function. We have pivot table, data cleaning. So all these are things we'll be doing in this class. So by the time you're done with this class, you'll be able to be good and sound to apply at least data entry job. By the time you're done with this class, you'll be able to be applying for at least data entry job. I mean the Excel the Excel, just the Excel. By the time you're through with the Excel, you should be able to get a data entry job. Okay, so what I want us in this class is to be dedicated to the program, just dedication. Spend time practice, spend time to practice. That is one of the things I want to encourage us to do, because we can learn. We have only 2 days in a week to do one or two. So that is Saturday and Sunday. So we have other days to practice. So please don't skip practicing. Don't skip going back through the last class. Don't go through the last class the day you're having class. It won't work. Don't go through the last class, maybe Saturday morning or Saturday. No. Try creating chance. It can be 1 hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours, maybe twice a week to go back to what you've done. Then go online, make research. If you need more practice, message. I will get you some other practice that you can use. So please, like I said, dedication. That's what I need. Give me the dedication. Then ask me question anytime you feel that, oh, I'm not getting exactly what you're teaching. Just ask me question. I'll pause and go back to make it clear. And I believe that through that question, other people can still learn one or two from that question you're going to ask. So don't hesitate to ask a question. No question is too small. No question is big. You can ask any question. We all are learners, so you can ask any question. Okay, so let's start with today's class. If you're working with me, you let me know so I can carry you along. What I mean by working with me, as I'm working on my system, if you're also working on your system, let me know so I know the speed at which I'm going to be taking the class. But if you want me to go like you want us to go through the class together, maybe later on you can go back to your own and practice. It's fine. But if you're working with me in this class, you know what I mean by working with me. As I'm typing, as I'm putting in formula, you also are putting in your formula. I want to see our hands. Just raise your hand. You don't need to talk. Just raise your hand. But if you want to talk, fine. So let me see those that want to work with me, so I know how to carry you along as I'm taking the class. But if you're not working with me, you want to maybe contribute during the class, I still also want to know, so I know how to carry every one of us along. You know, some of us are coming from different backgrounds. Some of us are not used to this kind of courses, kind of program. So you need to be carried along. So please let me know those that are working with me. If you're not working with this, fine. Later on, you can still go back to the class. But during the class, you can ask me 1 or 2 questions. So I'll need our attention. You can ask me 1 or 2 questions. But if you're not working with me, let me know so I can move on. Please.
I wish I can work with you, but I'm driving, so I'm listening to your class.
Okay.
But I know that I'm going to practice, then
okay.
Definitely throw question back at you.
Thank you,
later.
And
thanks for the advice for the watching of the video before, as in during the week before the class instead of during the training day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Any other person?
I'll be working with you, so I'll try to ask questions as we go along the way.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So we have one more person. Okay, so fine. So let's go. Like I said, I've followed all the content we need for today. So we're starting with the mathematical function. So I'm going to list out what we're going to cover under the mathematical function. Minutes. So for the first section, our class is for 2 hours. So let's start with so I call it a basic math function. So we're looking at the sum function. Then we looked at the mean function, then max, which is the maximum. Then we have the average. We have round function. We have rank. We have rank between. We have some products. So these are some fun. These are the first section we'll be looking at today. Then after that we'll move on to the next. So I'm going to run through it in some minutes. So now you're working with me, you can ask questions. Those that are not working with me, please also pay attention so we all can get it together. So can you see my Excel sheet? Do I need to increase? Can you see my sheets?
The size is okay.
Okay, I'm good. So we're starting with the sum function. So this function returns the sum of the cells or range selected. The sum function returns the sum of the cells or range selected. Here we have the syntax. The syntax can also be called the formula. Can also be called formula. So if I say syntax, I'm also referring as saying formula. So this is the formula how to apply the function. So each of these functions starts with an equal sign. So any function you're going to be using in Excel, it must start with what? With an equal sign. So that the first step you should take note of. Each of the function starts with what? With an equal sign. So we have this table here. It's a table. So this is a table of students. We have students, then we have the mathematics score, we have the science score, then we have the English score. What is our aim here? What are we to achieve here? What we have to achieve here is to sum the total score of each student. Is to sum the total score of each student. So in basic mathematical way, we can use addition, which is plus, to sum this together. But in Excel, we can also use plus. But the short form to sum a number in range is using the sum function. So the basic step of this, like I said, you start your calculation with what? With an equal sign. So you start equal sign. This is the basic step. Say M5 plus N5 plus O5. So this is a basic way that you can add the students' scores together. So you can see that it returns 259. So returning 259. So for the short form of this, since it's more than 2, it's 3 columns that are trying to sum together. So we'll use the sum function. So add all the numbers in a range of cells. So I'll click on the sum. Then from the starting down to the end parts, you can see that is how to select the entire row. So let's click enter. Do we have the same answer? Yes. So this is the short form. Why this is very useful is that you may be working with like 10 columns. If you're working with 10 columns, you see that it's very stressful to be saying equals N5 plus O5 plus N5 plus, you understand? It's very difficult. But if you're using sum, what you need is the first, then the last. Like what I need here is just the first cell, then the last cell. I'll be able to calculate the sum. What I need, the first cell is what? Is N5. N5, then ratio then that's all. That's all you need. You don't have to be picking plus, plus, plus. It's going to take you a longer time to achieve that. So please take note of this. Some function
Hi.
of the number in a range. Any question?
Hi, sorry, did I call you Johnny or Daniel? Sorry to
Anyone
start
can
with.
answer out from you. It's okay. My name.
Yeah. All right, that's fine. I'll just call you Daniel. Sorry, did you type in the sum or you clicked on the sum in the formula bar?
Okay. As you type in it, it will pop out.
Okay, fine. Okay.
It's
That was
an
I wanted to
inbuilt.
be sure.
It's an inbuilt function.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately it comes, instead of me putting my close bracket, I can just type.
Mm-hmm.
Just click on it. Click, then it's open. So you don't have to type it full. If you want to type it full, you are free to type it full like this. Get. It's an inbuilt function. So any inbuilt function you're calling out from Excel, once it pops out,
Mm-hmm.
instead of typing it, just click, double click, then
Okay, keep it posted. Maybe they're doing maintenance or something.
huh?
Marafa unmuted a bit.
Should I move?
No, Marafa unmuted. Yeah, you can move on. For example, if you have 10 rows that you need to add, you just
Yeah.
select the first and then you drag on to the last and then it just adds up,
Yes.
correct?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So this is the first step. Then click enter. Then we have what we call relative and absolute cells reference. So by default, all cells are relative reference. All cells are relative reference. What did I mean by relative reference? Now that we have added a formula in the first cell, which is for the first student, we can relate that formula to the next cell, then to the third one, then to the fourth one, then to the fifth one. Instead of putting that formula one after the other, we can relate it. So we also have absolute cell references, which I'm going to be explaining to us later on. But for this section, we'll be using relative cell references. This is how it works. You don't have to be putting the formula in the second one, in the third one, the fourth one, or the fifth one. So I advise students not to drag, but to double click. Because if you're having like 10,000 rows, you can't just be dragging it like this down, you understand? So you just have to double click at this point. Look at this point at the edge. Can you see that? This little point. That should increase so you can see it a little. See the point at this edge. Can you see this? So you
Yes.
click at that edge, double click. So once you double click, it will fill up the formulas to the rest cells. You can see that. That's how you can achieve this. So we don't have to be entering the formula for the second one, then for the third one. So the formula has been relating to each of those cells. Related to each of those cells. So that is how relative cell references work. By default, all cells are relative reference. So, any question? Any question on this? We move on to the next. Any question? Okay, that means we understand what I just explained. So let's move on to the next. Next is mean, which is minimum. This function returns the smallest number in a given set of values. It ignores logical values and texts. It ignores logical values and texts. So if you're asked to get the minimum score for each of these students based on their subjects, we have to get the lowest. Okay, what is the lowest in mathematics? What is the lowest in science? What is the lowest in English? We have to use this minimum function to get the lowest of each of these subjects. So same thing based on what we just did on sum. So let's look at how to get the lowest. So you start the function with what? You can tell us. You start with what? You start with what? To start the
An equal sign.
equal sign, then mean. Mean returns the smallest number in a set of values. Ignores logical values and text. So I'll click on it, then I'll click here, Control Shift, then down. I'm able to select everything. So the lowest is what? 45. The lowest is 45. So you can also do for this, then this. So let's do this. Let's just drag it down to the, let's drag it to the right. Then you're able to fill it. Fill the science, this is science, and this is the English. So the lowest in science is 53, the lowest in mathematics is 45, then the lowest in English is 55. So that is how to get the minimum, which is the lowest. Minimum means what? The lowest number.
Sorry. Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. So you put the equal to sign, then the mean, and then you select the cells from the top to bottom, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So that is that for minimum. Then let's move on to max. Max means what? The highest. I want to get the highest number in a list of numbers. I want to get the highest. So the same approach. Let's do that. So here we have start with the equal sign, then max. Select from the starting 99 for mathematics. Let's see for science and English. 99 for science. Then for English, we have 90 for English. Yeah. So take note of that. This is the max for each of the subjects, the maximum for each of the subjects. You can also do it for maybe for the students. You want to get the maximum score for each student. You want to get what is the highest score for each of the students. Which subject did you have the highest? You can do that. You can put do it like this equals max. You can do that for mean also. You want to get the subjects, go the highest. What subject is that? Mathematics. So what subject is this? Okay, it's called both in mathematics and science. It will return just one. So here you have 90, which is English. Here you have 60, which is science. 75, which is what? English. So you can do it both for subjects or both for the student subjects. So any of the two. Okay. Next, average. So this function returns the average value of the given numbers. It ignores text values and blank cells. It ignores text values and blank cells. So this is the formula. This is the formula. Average, then so looking at this now, let me add a round there. So looking at this, for us to get the average of these students, I'll show us different ways we can get the average, then I'll come back to this format. So for us to get the average, let's say we are going to make use of this the total. Who can tell us how we can get the average of these students based on their total score? Anybody? Contribution, anybody? How can we get the average of the total for each student. Can you tell me the average?
Yeah, it'll be the total divided by the number of sorry, that's the average score you mean, correct?
Okay, yes, average. I want to get the average score. So how do we get it?
The total divided by the number of subjects.
Good. So that means we can say equals this divided by 3. We should be able to get the average. Yeah. So we have 3 subjects, which is math, science, and English. So we can get the average like that. But that is not where I'm going. We are using the inbuilt functions. We are using the inbuilt function. So we are using just average. So I'll go back. I just wanted to get attention. So let's go back to the average. So we're using this average function. So what you need to do is use the equals average. Then you highlight the students score from maths then to English. Are you able to get the same thing? Is it the same with the one we just did now? Yeah.
Yes, correct.
86.333. Look at this. It's 6 point. So that means you're right. So let's autofill also. So that is that on average. That's how you get your average for each of these students. Next, we have round. We have round. So round function, let's take it in. Let's do it. So round function rounds a number, so a specified number of digits. So a specified number of digits. So if you can round up, you can round down. So what we are looking at is the round. We want to round it to the nearest number. So let's make it 86 points. Let's say 3. That is so 1 decimal. So let's see. So the first is the number. The number is this, which is average. Then in what digits? What number of digits? I need it in 1 digit. So let's see.
1.
Can you see that? So that is 86.3. See that? Rounding it to the nearest digit. So we have 86.3, 46.3, 85, 94.3, then we have 53.3. So that is that. Well, there is also another way we can do this without using a formula. This is it here. We have increase decimal, then we have decrease decimal. So that is another way without using a formula. Can you see that? Without using a formula. Is that clear? So we have decrease, then we have increase. That's when you don't want to apply this formula. Okay? So you can do that. Any question? So next, rank function. The word rank. The word rank. How does it sound? Position, right? Position. The word rank. So let's look at the definition of that rank function. Let's look at the definition of rank function. So look at it. So this function is available for, okay, let's see the rank average. Okay, but I'm not using the rank average. I just want to use it for the definition of that rank. So returns the rank of a number in a list of numbers. So rank function returns the rank of a number in a list of numbers. So take note of it. So that means if we want to get the rank of each of these students, we want to get their position based on their performance. So looking at this table, which student do you think will be first, second, third, and fourth? Which student will be the first in this class? These are our students. Who is first in the class?
Simple.
Student 4. So let's look at it and see if we are correct or not. So using the rank function, we have equals rank, then starts, then the reference. What is the reference? Please take note of this. Take note of this. The reference is the column, the range, the table array, which is the range. You select from the first, then to the last. That is the reference. That will mean by the reference. You're picking this Q5 from the list. You're picking it out. You want to get the position of that Q5 from the class, which is the table array. That is the reference. So we are getting the position of that person from this range. Okay? So next, we have the order. The order means descending or ascending. Descending means in a way that you're sorting from the highest, descending, you're sorting it from the highest to the lowest. What ascending means, you're sorting from the smallest to the highest. So based on this performance, we can sort from the highest down to the lowest, because the highest should be the first, not the lowest. So the highest should be the first. So how do we get the highest? You click on that descending. So the descending is what? Is 0. Why ascending is 1? Take note. Descending is what? 0. Ascending is 1. So then close your brackets. So the position of the person that scored 86.3 is second. Check if I'm right. Correct?
Correct.
Good. Good. So, who can put me through? Ma, you are working with me. Can you put me through on the second person? Let's do it together. Start with your what?
Mm-hmm. Equal sign.
Okay.
And then rank.
Rank.
And then you click on that. And then the number would be Q. Well, you select a Q6.
Okay.
No, Q6.
No, you start from you don't exclude the first person. It's part of the class. Okay.
Oh, I apologize. Sorry. We're trying to get the rank of the second student, correct? Okay, so I would have thought we'll put the second, that would be Q6. So we still have to refer to Q5.
Okay. Q6. Comma.
Exactly. Why are you trying to trick me?
Next.
Why are you trying to trick me? I was wondering. It's Q6, okay.
Next.
All right. And then the comma sign, and then the ref. The ref would be the what's the ref again? The ref is the ref. Can you click on ref? Sorry, can you click on the ref?
The ref is the table array, which is the first.
Okay, so you select.
Like
Okay.
the ref.
I wanted you to click on it so I can see what it brings out and I remember. Okay, so the entire thing, yes.
Yeah.
And then the order would be descending because we're trying to see that'll be 0.
Is it correct?
Mm-hmm. That's correct. It's in
Good. So the issue here with this formula is that this formula is absolute reference. It's not relative reference. Let me show you what I mean by that. You will tell me the error. Just watch. Let's say I delete this formula, then I autofill. This autofill, we'll call it autofill. How to autofill your cell range. So look at it. What is the issue with this?
The two positions and 2 second positions and 2 first positions.
Okay.
Ranks.
Okay. So let's see what caused it. Look at, let's see the first one. The first one, there's no issue. Then the second, look at what happened. So what is the issue here?
Can you click on the first again? Let's compare Q6, Q6.
Okay.
Q5, Q5, Q9. Please go back to the second. Yeah, please go back to the second.
Okay.
So, oh yeah, so there's no Q10 For the first student, it selected the reference was Q5 to Q9, which is actually the range we have. But for some reason, for student two, it's selecting Q6 to Q10.
Okay, that means
And there's no
it's
difference.
excluded the student, the
Excluded
first student.
student one,
Yes,
exactly.
that is wrong. That is wrong. So let's see how we
Mm-hmm.
correct it. Like I said, for us to make sure that this does not occur, this error does not occur, we need to keep this cell constant. This is the range. We need to keep this range constant. You understand? So how do we keep this range constant? By locking that range. By locking that range. So we have a way to lock it using $sign to lock it. So the short form of locking it, some system you can apply function F4. Some other system you can just click F4. Like my system, F4, just F4 will work for it. You highlight the range, then click. You know where the F4 is located? F4 is located on your keyboard. The first line. You're using a keyboard, maybe you're using a Dell, HP. You have F1, F2, F3, then you have F4. So you click on it. Then you can see that the $sign has been applied. You then click enter, go back, and autofill again. Can you see that?
Yeah, can you please go over that again, the $sign? Once you click the dollar, it applies to it.
Okay. Okay. So this is it. This is how it was before without the $sign. So I said
Yeah.
you click on the ref before you click on the F4. If the
Oh,
F4
okay.
is not working for you, because some systems
Mm-hmm.
is their difference, you have to
Mm-hmm.
Fn. You look for Fn down. It's down your keyboard. Like the last part of the keyboard, you see Fn. After the
Mm-hmm.
control key, you see Fn. So you can use
Mm-hmm.
N, then before you click on the F4, you click it together. Fn, then F4. If your system is not working with just F4, so
Mm-hmm.
that's how it works. Just click on it, then enter. Move back again, you also fill. That's all. That's how it works. So, any question? We'll move to the next one. Okay, let's go on. Next, some products. Some products. This function returns the sum after multiplying the numbers in an array. It can also be used to count cells based on criteria provided. So the sum function returns the sum after multiplying the number in an array. It can also be used to count cells based on criteria provided. So we have the formula sum product in an open bracket, array 1, array 2, array 3, and so on. This is the syntax. So let's look at the table. So this is the table. Anyone have idea of what this table? Anybody have idea of this table? So what we are trying to do with this table is to get the sum product for each of these students. So I will show us the basic way so we can understand the outputs of the sum products. So let me show us the basic way of you applying these sum products. Let's see the basic way. So what this is saying is that mathematics, mathematics is very hard for some people. You understand? It's very hard to pass. So yeah, they're telling us, the school is telling us, or the person in charge of this subject is telling us that if you're able to score anything in mathematics, he or she will multiply it by 2. That means the weight of mass is 2. Do you get that? That means someone that scored 45, his score is going to be multiplied by 2. Am I making sense? Then for someone that's called 83 in science is times 1. So the weight of science is just 1. The weight of English is 1.3. You can see that each of these subjects has their weight. So let's see. Let me just do it in basic way. Then I will use the sum products to do it. So this is what they are trying to tell us. For example, equals 95. Let's do for the first student. 95 multiplied by 2 plus, calculating for the first student, 83 multiplied by 1 plus 81 multiplied by 1.3. Can you see that? What is our answer?
378.3.
Should I go on? So let's try using some products. Let's try using some product. This is a basic way, just trying to make you understand it very well. So for you to see that it's not hard. It's not hard to get. So let's look at the sum products. So equals sum products. Then we have array 1. We have array 1. So this array 1 selects from math to English. Then array 2 select from first and down to the last. So looking at these two selections, which table should you keep constant so that it will not affect the formula? To know it, which one should remain constant out of the two? That there should not be any changes involved. Which one? Is it the weight or the maths, science, and English? Which one should we keep constant? Look at it very well and tell me. But let me show you why we should.
Yeah, the weight.
Let me do it and show you
Go
why
ahead.
we keep it constant. Let me click enter first. Do you have the same answer for the students one? Got the same answer. 3,
Yes.
8.3. Yeah. So look at this now. Do you see? Can you see there's an issue there? So looking at the table now, tell me the one we should keep constant.
11 to 11 should be constant. That's the weight.
M11 to 11, right? So that is
Correct.
array 2. Good, good. Array 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. F4.
So thank you for that. So that is that. That's that. You can see that. Okay, good one. So I think the last one I need to explain here. We've done summing, average, round, between, round, between. So this function returns random numbers between specified number. So we have bottom, then we have top. Returns random number. So looking at this, we're just going to generate our own random number ourselves. So let's say we want to get a random number between 40 and 50 for the student 6. We want to use the random number to fill up the student 6 record. So equals round between 40 as the bottom, top 50. So you can see that based on the round between function. Here we got what? 41. So I'll fill up like this. So the number can change at any time because it's a formula that will have inside, can change at any time, but it won't go below 40 and it won't go greater than 50. It's between 40 and 50. And after imputing the formula, if you want to remove the formulas inside, if you want to remove the formula, it can also be removed so that it will not be changing each time you click inside itself. So look at it now to change. But if you want to remove it, you don't want the formula inside, there's a way you can remove it by copying the cell, copy, then you right click, you paste it as value, paste as value. So in this way, you'll be able to remove the formula. It won't be changing again. You can see that there's no longer a formula inside. See that? So that is when you want to remove the formula. If you don't want to remove the formula, you can leave it the way it is. So if you don't want to remove it, you can leave it. But take note, I've showed you how to remove formula. So if you don't want the formula to be affecting the record, just right click, copy, then paste as value. That's all. Copy, right click, paste as value. So, any question? So for this section, just finished now. I've said the exercise for this one. This is the exercise for the mathematical function. So this exercise is to be submitted before the next class. So this is the exercise. I'll send the email you submit it to. This is the exercise. Then this is where you solve it. This is where you solve. So you're going to calculate the total, the minimum, the maximum, the average, the rank. Okay, let me add one more. Let me add one more. This bonus. This bonus. Round. So let me add round. So you can round it up. I just added this. I'm not sure I typed it here, so I didn't type it here. So you can round it up to maybe 2 decimal or 1 decimal. I'm giving that information for those that are in class. So you can round it up to 2 decimal or 1 decimal. It's just a bonus. Just play with it because I've explained that in this class. I've explained it here on the average. This is it here. So you can round it up 2, 3, as many decimals you want. So that is that. So what we're able to get today now, what we're able to get on this mass function is sum, minimum, maximum, average, sum products, rank, between, then rank and round. So we're able to get these functions correctly in this class. So please, your section 1 assignments should be done before the next class. So let's move on to textual function. Textual functions. So any question for the mathematical function? Any question? Please ask a question before I move on to this.
Okay, can I ask? Sorry.
Yeah.
The last function, which was the round between. I mean, how often is that required? Because it just seems like a very strange function.
Yeah,
So,
depends
mhm.
on the projects you're working on. So not that I use it regularly, depending on the projects. But there are those functions you use occasionally when working with data. So, but
Okay.
depending on the
Right.
yes.
Right. Thank you.
Let's look at some textual function. So you can open your textual function. If you have it, I'll send that to us. Please you can check the platform. So let's look at some topics on that textual function. So what topics do you have on that textual function? We have string. I also tell students that textual function is talks about data cleaning. the cleaning aspect. So these are the basic way of cleaning your data. We have trim, we have concatenate, we have upper, lower, upper. We have length, left, right, and mid. We have substitute. Substitute function. So these are textual function. Like I said, they also call them data cleaning. They are for data cleaning. They are data cleaning tools. So we're still going to do more on data cleaning, but this one is the one we're going to start with now. So please take notes. So I'm going to run through the function one after the other. So like just finish the first one. Any question, you can ask me, then move on to the next. So let's go. Let's get started. So starting with the train function. Ma, are you still with me? Are you following me also?
Oh, yes, I am definitely.
Good, good. So train function is very useful. It's very useful function. So this involves removing extra spaces. You can see this table. What do you notice? What do you notice here? The string column.
It's not
string column.
Yeah, it's a little distorted. It's not aligned. It's not aligned.
So what you should keep in mind is that using alignment, you know, we have alignment. You have left, you have right, you have mid, you have top, you have right. Right? Using that alignment, you will not be able to achieve your goal using this column. You can't achieve that goal. So look at it here. Let's see. This is left. This is left. This is right. You see?
Yeah, it still keeps the spaces.
You won't be able to achieve your goal. So what you're going to use here now is what? Is string. With string, it will take away the extra spaces. So let's see how we can go about that. Equal string. Then click on the first. You can see that it takes away the extra spaces. Let's apply it to the next. Let me make this one 10 so we don't think it's the same thing. Let me make this one 14. So let's see. Can you see? Very easy. Taking away the extra spaces. But what you also notice that there are formulas inside. You can see there's a formula inside. See that? I've showed you how to remove the formula. If you're asked to remove the formula. Because if you do not remove the formula, if you touch any of this, look at. Did you see?
Good. Yeah, affects.
Yes. So I'll show you how to take away the formula. If you want to take away the formula, what are you going to do? You copy, then you right click, then paste
as a value, paste as value.
So formula will be out. So let's move on to the next one. Yeah, what I mean about formula, what I'm talking about here is just you getting me what you use. For instance, now this is what I use for this. So just put it here. Just put it for and type it. What we use is mwords string I don't need that, but if you want to type it, you can type it. M5. So that's what I'm asking. What you use for this? So, well, I don't need that. I can sign out to read it. So next is concatenates. Concatenates. Concatenate join several texts. There's more than one text into one string. So let me scroll down and give us example of it before I play with it with this table. Let's look at one example of concatenate. I'll give us two ways you can use concatenate. So you choose the one that is best for you. So for instance, let's say I have first name, I have last name. So let's say I have Johnny, then I have here Daniel. So this is my first and my last name. So I want to combine to make a full name. So how do I combine these two? I'll show you a very easy way to do that. Very easy way to do that, to get the full name. So equals concatenates, then string 1 Johnny, string 2 Daniel. See that? Combine first name and the last name. So you can also include space in between by using empty quotes. This is how to add space in between. The space can be hyphen, it can be ordinary space, it can be whatever you want to use to separate the two names. So now I use just space. I also come here and put hyphen in between. So depending on what you want to use to separate the first name and the last name. Is that clear?
Yes.
That is how to concatenate. If you don't want to make use of this formula, you can say this, you can type this, then and then this is another method. This is another method of using concatenate. You can see that. That's another way you can use concatenate. So you can also put space in between. You can put space here. Comma is not allowed here. Comma is not allowed. Don't use comma, use and. So that's it. That's it. So whichever one that you feel like using, you can use that. So let's go and look at the table. Let's play with this table. So looking at this table, we have to make a statement with this table. So let me take this out. So looking at this table, we have student field records. So let me show you what I'll be using this table to. So we have students 1 and their score. We have their subjects, then we have their score. So here we are going to use it to make sentence. For instance, equals concatenates student 1, comma, has scored. Please, I'm going to ask you to attempt for me. So look at what I'm doing. I scored. What did the student 1 scored? 95. He scored 95. Then in. And see I'm putting space, so it won't be together. In what subjects? In maths. I can take this or I take this. Any of the maths. It's okay. Can you see that? Student 1 has scored 95 in maths. Student 1 has scored 95 in maths. Can you try that of science? Or you want to look at this also?
Okay, I'll just clarify something. Okay. So can you click on that cell? Okay. So a space before has scored and then a space after before the apostrophe. Okay. Space before and after. Okay. You can try.
Okay, let's do for science. So let's start.
Student. That's text one. So you can click on whichever
Right.
one.
Okay.
K5 or K15. Okay. Then space, right?
Quotes.
And then or quote rather. Okay, space and then quote. And then has
Quotes.
scored space and then close the quote, comma, and then click on that's for science, right? So 83, you click on M5, right? Okay. And then space quote, space in math in sorry, science. So you click on M4.
M4. Okay, let me pick it.
M14. Yeah, M4, whichever one. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I try with
Mhm.
the second formula with this one. Try with this formula. Can you try? You don't need the concatenate, right? You don't need comma. So just click on student one, then and has called so anyone you prefer. If you prefer the one of concatenate, prefer this, you're free. Anyone. So looking at it, let's start with this first one. Autofilling. This will happen. There's an issue. See that there's an issue. So how do we correct that issue? Which one should we keep constant? Out of everything selected, which one should remain constant?
The student cannot be constant, so her score has to be constant.
Ascor, no? Ascor need to affect the whole rows. Student 2 need to
Because the student, yeah, so I mean, student one can't be constant because they're different students. The
okay.
grades can't be constant because the grades are different.
Okay.
The subjects cannot be constant because they're different. So I'm just trying to use the elimination method.
You look at it very well. The subject can be constant because it's only maths. You're not doing it for science.
Oh, oh, okay. Oh, I didn't realize. Sorry, I thought we were
Yeah.
doing. Okay, yes. So maths is constant if we're doing maths for all the students. Yes.
Thank you.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you can see that.
Right.
So let's look at this too. Yeah.
Yeah, so science will be constant. M4.
Yeah.
M4 will be constant.
So that's it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's move on to the next chapter. Substitute function. So this function is used to replace a part of text in a string with something else. So substitute function is used to clean data. And now I was telling us that everything we are learning here is for data cleaning. So this function is case sensitive. What it means is that if it's a capital letter, you replace with capital letter. If it's a small letter, you replace with what? With small letter. That is the meaning of that word case sensitive. And this is the syntax. We have equal substitute, then we have text, old text, new text, then instance number. Text, old text, new text, instance number. So looking at this, there is an issue here. So how do we replace that? Using the substitute equals substitute, then the text, which is this students, then the old text. What are we replacing? We're replacing the B in quotes, B in quotes. Then the new text, we are changing it to what? So D. Then instant number. What I mean by the instant number is, in case of the data occurring more than one, so you need to know the position of the one you are changing it later. So for instance, now you can see, looking at it, you have 2t, you can see 2t. So if you ask to change that last t, the instant number of that last t will be 2. Exactly. The instant number of the second t will be 2. But since we only have one b that we are changing, we can decide not to put the instant number. We can decide to say the instant number is what? 1. Get. So let's say 1. Is it correct? So you can decide not to use 1 because it just occurs just once. Understand? So where it's very useful is when you have it multiple, maybe call more than once in that statement, maybe more than once, and you're trying to pick one particular one to replace. So
can I ask a question?
yeah.
So you mean, for example, if like a T, occurs more than once in several cells,
Yeah.
or in that particular cell?
In that particular cell.
Okay.
So changing the 38 to, let's change the 38 to 100 equals substitute, then changing 38. 38 is its number. You don't have to quote number, just type it, then 100. So you can see that changing the 38 to 100. K8, 38, 100. Substituting 38 to 100. Can you do the one of science for me to English? Science to English.
Okay. I suppose take equal substitutes. K9. Science.
Don't forget the science is what?
I'm sorry.
Capital.
Double quote.
It's capital.
Yeah.
Letter. So if you use small letter, you'll be able to.
You wouldn't.
It. So change.
Okay.
What?
And close the quote. English.
English.
So uppercase E.
Thank you.
Close the quote.
So let's move on to lower. Lowercase, then upper. I added upper. So uppercase means capitalizing the text. Okay, so equals upper. So changing the student to uppercase. Can see that. So upper, the cell address. So lower equals changing the upper. Let's change the upper to lower. Can see that. Changing it to what? Small lowercase. Then the proper, the first letter capitalizes it. Then that is the proper. So this proper, consider this is the uppercase, lowercase, then proper. So why I didn't use this is because it's already in proper state. It's already in proper state. So that's why I use the lower for the proper. So I think this one is very easy now. No much formula inside. Just the cell. So next is length. Length function. This function returns the number of characters in a string. Returns the number of characters in a string. For the length function, it returns the number of characters in a string, including the space. It also counts the space and special character. So let's look at it here. So looking at this table, we have students one. How many character can you return? How many character? Students is how many character? 7, right? Student
7.
7. Then there's a space there. That is what? 8.
8.
Then the 1, that is 9. So let's see. All right. I see that 9 character. So this is 11 character. This is 13, 12, 12. Just the cell. The formula length, then the cell. You get your. The last part here is left, right, and mid. So here we can split text into parts. So I'll show us the easy way also to do that. So this function returns the number of specified character from the start/end of the string. Mid returns the number of specified character from the specified point. So this is the syntax for left, the text, then the number of character, then the right text, number of character. For the mid, text starting position, then number of character. So looking at this table, this example, looking at this table, we have the QR code. We have QR code. So what we have to do in this QR code is to separate it in 3 columns. Bringing out the year, the product ID, then the group. So let's start with the year. So the year, where can we categorize the year? Is it the left, right, or mid?
Yes, left.
Left, are you? Yeah. Left now, right?
That's right.
Left. So then position 4. We have 4 characters. If you count it, 2018 is 4 characters. I just explained character now, right?
Okay.
So 2018 is just 4 character.
Right.
So then product ID, which is mid, right?
Yes.
So look at this now. The text. Starting position. What is the starting position of the product ID? Let's count. This is 4. Then the product ID starts from position 5, which is A.
5.
Then how many character are we bringing out? We're pulling out 5 character. So the last one is what? The right. What are we returning?
Inside the
2.
Then the number
2 from the right hand side. 43, 44, 43, 45, 44, 43.
Oh, you're counting from the right hand side.
Yes. Can you see that? If you don't feel this,
Can you click on, yeah. Can you click on 43? Let me just see the formula.
Okay.
So write text, number, characters. Okay. So from the right, counting from the right.
Yes.
Okay.
So you don't want to pick it like that. There's other way you can do that. Without formula. Let me show you. Take this out. So we have what we call flash fill. Is it here? Can you see it here? Flash fill. Is it here? So it said automatically fill in values. Enter a couple of examples you want as output and keep the active cell in the column you want to fill in. So this is it. Very easy to use and it's very useful. I'm going to show you that. It's very useful. Look at this now. I don't know formula. I want to split this. I'll just type example of what I want. 2018. Can you see that? Then I'll come to the flash fill. Done. Same thing, the ID. Done. The group. Can you see that? Guys, if you don't want to use the formula, you can do that using flash fill. So the another usefulness of this flash fill, let me show you another usefulness of it. Let's say you're working in an organization and you're giving John down Rhodes Smith do then let's say quests. So you have to generate their email, maybe Gmail, something like that. Let's say John David Daniel Victor Yakubu Smith Joe So look at this. This first name, hey there.
Yes, ma'am.
This first name, then this last name. You have to get their email. Or you have to generate Gmail for them. So I'll just do one example then. Let's say the first example, John David at John David at gmail.com. You can see that. If you click on it, it's an active email. I'm not clicking on it. Not just using it for example. Can you see that?
Yeah, sorry, did you double click the edge of the cell or you drag it
autofill.
out?
Autofill.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
But if you click on it, email is active email. Can you see that?
Exactly, yes.
So don't click on it. Just click on that dot. Just click on the dots, then autofill. So very useful. The autofill is very useful. I can also use it to split I can use it to split it out. I can bring out John David. I see.
Yeah.
So depending on so it's very important. The autofill is very, 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 very. So try using to do your email address, then so on. Generate emails for you. Very easy. So that is that on the textual function. We're able to cover everything on textual function. So So we have logical function, we have and, then we have or. And we have the if statement. So before we look at the and or and if statements, we need to understand logical comparison operators. So I don't know if you're familiar with that. Are you familiar with these symbols?
Yes.
Okay. So greater than, less than, not equal to, than, equal to, less than or equal to, right? So let's say we have input 1, then input 2. So we're going to be testing each of these. So I just need, let's generate a random number. Run between 40, I just want to populate this cell. So instead of typing it individually, okay? You get what I did, right?
Can you go back to do that? I missed it for a second.
Okay. You know, I want to make use of numbers. So instead of typing it individually, I said generate random number just for teaching, not that I'm using it for any serious projects. So we did run between, right? So I say I need a number from 40 to 100. That's all.
Right.
And I fill everything like this.
Okay.
Then remove the formula so that it will not be changing. That's all. So let's start with this first one. So let's test. What do you think it will return? Is input 1 greater than input 2?
Can you repeat the question? What do I think you return?
True or false? True, false, true, false.
So the first in comparison to the second, correct? Yes, the first is greater than the second.
So that is true.
True.
Okay. This greater than true. So you can see the output true. It's also true. It's true. It's 163. 50, 45. Then. Next. The first two, what will they return?
False.
False. Equals.
Less than.
False. So next.
False.
Let's say less than equal to. Equals. Less than equal to. So that is how you test all the operators. You want to be testing them one by one. Then we have not equal to. Not equal to. Which is equals this, not equal this. It's opposite of equal to. Get.
Yes, sure.
If someone had a question, sir, you're welcome back. Hello, sir. You want to ask a question?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you very well now. Can hear you very well.
So for some of the formulas, you don't have to log them, but for some you have to. What's determining the difference between that?
Okay, I explained absolute and relative reference, which I will still put us through in the class as we progress in the class. But by default, all cells are relative reference. By default,
Okay.
all cells are relative reference. So
No.
we are still coming to relative and absolute references.
Okay. So for the absolute ones, you don't need to log them.
No,
But if it is relative, then
the relative, don't need to log the relative ones.
okay. Okay.
Don't worry, I'm going to teach you that in details. I'm going to teach you that in details. So let's move on. So this where are we? The not equal to, so can do greater than equal to this this greater than equal to true. So that's that for the logical comparison operators. So let's move on to the and or not. So let me send us a file. Okay, so maybe let me check if I have file on my system. And give me some minute, let me forward the table to us. Start. Please check if you have the logical function. I sent it to the group. I'm not sure.
Let me see. The logical function is different. What I see here is
Okay, is the logical function okay? Let me see.
a different sheet from what you have.
Yeah. This one I just typed this one now, so I want to make use of that one now.
Okay. The one you just sent. So I should discard the old one.
Yeah, the one you have is one I want to make now.
Oh, I see. Because it has and or if, count if, some if.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's use that now. Check. So let me open that. So yeah, looking at this now, we have and or, then we have if. So that is the logical part we're going to stop if. So let's look at it. So the AND function, why I explained this first for you to get is the operators. want to already familiarize yourself with the operators. That is the comparison operators. Greater than, less than, not equal to, equal to. So now you know these functions. So the next thing is the AND function. The AND function. What is the AND function? The AND function checks if all arguments are true and returns true value, else returns false value. Then the OR check if any of the conditions are true or not and returns true value, else returns false value. So you can see and OR, they are different. So let me explain again using using a table here. Still coming back to this table. Let me explain table. Let's say we have students, we have maths, then we have English. Students 1, 2, 5. So the condition for this is that maths greater than equal to 70. Okay, let's give it 60. Then for English, greater than equal to 70. So look at these two conditions. If it's AND operator, both conditions must be what? Met. So looking at this record here, take a look at it and tell me the student in which you think that they are going to pass. I mean, returns true. Those that are going to return true. Look at it very well. Are we there?
Yes, that's for maths, correct?
Yes, for this condition. The condition states that for you to return true, you must pass maths greater than 60, then and English greater than 70. So the two conditions, you must be able to meet up with the two conditions for you to,
At the same time.
yeah, the same. Yes.
So yeah, so student 1, student 2, student 3, student 4, and student 5.
Everybody.
Maths greater than 60, correct? And oh, I'm sorry. I was just looking at math, sorry, and the English greater than 70, sorry. So yes, student 1 for both, student 2 for both, student 3, no. Student 4, no. Student 5, no. So student 1 and 2.
Good. Let's see. You're right.
I was just looking at maths. Sorry about that.
And greater than equal to 60. Then English greater than equal to 70. True. Good. Just two true. Two.
Can you put the cursor on 1 again? I-13. Okay, so and what you call 1? That's 213. Okay, greater than. Equal to, why do you put the equal? Okay, yeah, return and equal to home. And then he's all right. Thank you.
See, that's true, right?
Yes, that's correct. The good thing is that you can only stress yourself to type in the formula in the first cell, and after that, you just drag.
Yes.
So,
So that is that. Then, based on the explanation of all, how many results do you think it will return? How many true do you think it will return if you apply the same condition to all?
okay. So for all,
Yeah, let's go
one,
back.
two,
Look at it.
okay.
Look at all. Can read it
Mm,
out. Say check if any of the condition, if any of the conditions was
mm, true or not.
not returns true value,
Mhm,
false value. So based on this, how many true?
mhm. So for student one, it's going to be true. For student two, it's going to be true. For student three, it's going to be okay. So that's why I'm a little confused. So for student, I think it's going to be true for all of them because right, it doesn't have to satisfy both conditions at the same time.
Good,
So
good,
it's,
good,
it's
good,
true
good,
for all of
good,
them.
good. So that is that for and all. So back to our table now. I think now you're familiar with it. So looking at this table, so we have math, science, and English, right? So we have to test for math score, and the conditions state that the math score must be what? 100. Can you see that? Math score equals what? 100. So first, we have one true, which is this 4, student 4. Any question? Then let me ask now. Looking at this, what do you think we should use for this greater than 75 in all subjects? Is it and or all?
um,
And
this will be and definitely.
okay,
It has to
equals
satisfy it's better than.
is greater than 75
Mhm, mhm,
in English.
mhm.
So this meets up with the condition. Then this is false because I have 65, 53, 43. False.
Mhm.
Then false also. So now over to this.
Yeah. So this will be all. It
Or
satisfies condition for all because mm,
any of these subjects.
mhm,
Less than 35, then less than 35, then less than 35. So one true, everything is what? False. Only this one is less than 35 in all subjects. So that is that for and all. Next, move to if statements. How many minutes do we have? We still have like 8 minutes. If statements. So the if statement return a value if true, another value if false. The if statement return a value if true, another value if false. So it check whether a condition is true or not, and on the basis of that, it returns a value. That's if statement. Instead of if statement, instead of it returning true or false, it returns what? A value if true, another value if false. So let me show us what I mean by that. Let's look at it. Let's use this one again, this table. Shows the different classes of if. So we have if statements. So greater than 70 pass. So if you say greater than 70 pass, then any other thing will return null. So let's see. Because if greater than 70, then pass. Do you see? Here return what? False. Because it's just if. Then we also have if else. We have if else. Or let's say also have if else. So if you return another condition, instead of returning just pass, you can also say else fail. So the same formula here.
In other words, instead of false, it just gives fail.
Yeah. Consider that. Instead of false, it returns fail. Then we have nested if. This is for multiple condition. This is for multiple condition. You can use this, for example, for grade. You can say greater than 70. Maybe you can say A, grade A. You can say greater than 60. You can say grade B. Anything below it else. So under that, there are multiple conditions. So if greater than 70, then we have grade A. Then if that is nested if greater than 60, then we have B. Else, you don't have to put another if, because that is the last condition. So you close two parentheses. It can be more than this condition. So I'm just giving us example. So you have four A's and one B based on the grade. So just to explain the if statements. So let's go back to the table. So I'm stopping soon. So this is the table. So based on the explanation, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Are you there? Hello. Okay. So let me stop it.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I just received a call right now. Sorry, I'm still
Oh,
following. I apologize.
okay. So yeah, if then we are going for mathematics, take notes. Maths greater than or equal to 75, then with A else will be so that is that for the mathematics grade. So for the science grade, we have nested if greater than or equal to 5, and if greater than or equal to 60, else last part C 2 parentheses. So that is that for the science. Then the English, same as science. Okay, you're logging out. I'll send that to you. Science, the English parts. If this was stopping, greater than equal to 85, then we have 8. If greater than equal to 60, we have B plus C. So that is that. Thanks for today. So tomorrow we continue from tomorrow. Thank you. Join early tomorrow so we can cover a lot in tomorrow class. So any question? Any question?
Yeah, thank you so much, Joy.
Thank you
No
very much.
questions.
So see you tomorrow again. Thank you very much. Mr. Festus, are you there? Okay.